Every day, millions rush across the surface of the Earth. They walk on sidewalks, ride subways, and never look down. But what if the greatest secrets were not above us, but right beneath our feet? We've been taught the myths of Atlantis and Lemuria, sunken beneath the waves. But today, we explore a far more unsettling idea, that forbidden cities don't sink. They are buried. These are not mere ruins. They are vast subterranean complexes built with technology we cannot replicate, sealed off and guarded not by the builders, but by the very governments who fear what lies within. You are watching Deep Truth Uncovered. Tonight, we pierce the veil of the surface world to map the forbidden labyrinths below. We'll ask the unsettling question: what ancient power are they truly hiding? Our journey begins in the subterranean heart of modern life, the network of tunnels and infrastructure that crisscrosses every major city. But they are not the first. First stop, Istanbul, a city built on 1,000 years of empire. Tourists visit the Basilica Kistern, an underground cathedral of columns. But that is only the public-facing fraction of a system that runs impossibly deep. Beneath Istanbul's historical center, local legends speak of endless tunnels and cisterns, vast reservoirs stretching out like a submerged, forgotten city. Many are welded shut, their contents unknown. Why seal off such a valuable resource? The official answer is structural safety. The deep truth is far more complex. Geologists have detected anomalies below the bedrock, structures far older than the Byzantines. Whisper campaigns suggest these are the remains of a pre-flood civilization, a global empire built on a kind of mega-engineering designed to withstand a cataclysm. Istanbul sits right on the fault line of that forgotten world. In 2017, a sinkhole opened near the old walls, revealing massive, unknown brickwork, a perfect sealed passage leading down into the darkness. It was immediately surrounded by police and then filled. The official record disappears. But the fact remains, underneath one of the world's busiest hubs, there is a civilization-scale infrastructure that someone, perhaps someone in power, desperately wants to keep sealed. Our trail leads west to the Eternal City, Rome. Below the glory of the Colosseum and the Roman Forum lies a different empire, one built on rock, not marble. Everyone knows of Rome's catacombs, the ancient burial tunnels. But there are whispers of a second, far older system of passages, the pre-Roman tunnels, carved directly into the volcanic tuff. These tunnels are architecturally distinct, too large for mere sewers, too deep for quarries. They run in straight lines over vast distances, defying the engineering limitations of the early Iron Age. What was their purpose? Was it refuge or something more? Some historians argue this network belonged to the legendary Etruscans, but even they would have struggled with rock this dense. The most tantalizing theory centers on the deepest sections, where stories tell of walls fused by extreme heat and chambers filled with a fine, gray powder. It sounds less like history and more like a massive, forgotten power station. Italian authorities maintain a tight grip on access, citing safety concerns over collapses and toxic gases. But the truth is, the deeper they dig for subways and utilities, the closer they get to the forbidden depths. Next, we move to Paris. Beneath the City of Light lies one of the world's best-known subterranean networks, the catacombs, and miles of abandoned quarry tunnels. But there are tunnels even the most dedicated urban explorers cannot access. These are the legends of the Ghost Metro, sealed-off stations and maintenance tunnels that reportedly stretch beyond the known map. They are used, locals claim, not by trains, but by something else. For decades, these inaccessible areas have been linked to government secrecy. Some believe the tunnels connect to hidden defense bunkers, a French version of the American Greenbrier facility. But what if the tunnels hide something biological? Paris has a long history of plague. Imagine a sealed-off laboratory deep beneath the city, still containing samples of ancient pathogens. The government is silent, of course. Any official mention of these deeper systems is met with denials or vague references to old construction plans. The less they say, the more we have to imagine. Now we take the disparate clues, the engineered cisterns of Istanbul, the fused rock of Rome, the ghost tunnels of Paris, and connect them. What if these are all parts of the same global structure? This brings us to the Hyperborean hypothesis, a fringe theory suggesting that a highly advanced civilization, not Atlantis, but something far older, built its infrastructure underground to survive a catastrophic ice age or planetary shift. This civilization mastered geomancy, the harnessing of the Earth's own energy. Their tunnels were not for transport, but for channeling vast amounts of telluric power. The fused rock beneath Rome, residual heat from an overloaded power conduit, the sealed cisterns of Istanbul, massive water-cooled reactors, the entire world, once a single energy grid, and then the collapse. Not a slow decay, but a cataclysmic failure, perhaps an energy overload that melted the rock, destroyed the network, and forced the survivors to the surface. If the hypothesis is true, then the modern governments and shadowy organizations aren't guarding ruins. They are guarding dangerous leftovers, the remnants of a power source too volatile to be touched. This explains the excessive secrecy. They are not hiding history for fear of public panic. They are hiding a potential doomsday device left dormant beneath the city where you live. Imagine a scenario. A deep drilling project hits an intact power conduit in Rome, a surge of energy capable of blacking out half a continent, or worse, triggering a chain reaction. The risk is unacceptably high. That is the true mission of the subterranean guardians, not to preserve the secret, but to ensure that nothing disturbs the silent, ancient machines buried in the bedrock. They are the unwitting wardens of a tomb. To illustrate the scale of this hidden infrastructure, we look to the newest of the world's metropolises, New York, a city built on steel, glass, and a foundation of solid granite. Beneath Manhattan, engineers have consistently run into anomalies when drilling for the deepest tunnels, pockets of incredibly hard, unnaturally smooth stone that defies conventional blasting. Official explanations cite unusual geological formations, but conspiracy researchers argue these are the remains of a single, impossible structure, the load-bearing foundation of the Hyperborean city. They suggest that the sheer structural integrity required to support the weight of a city like New York may not come from the natural rock, but from the ancient superconcrete that underlies it. It's a structure so vast, so pervasive, that modern builders simply built around it, never daring to penetrate it. The Hyperborean fortress exists as the silent, unacknowledged support system of modern civilization. The official narrative suggests that any deep, sealed tunnels are simply forgotten air raid shelters or utility access ways. But we know better. The level of guarding suggests a more immediate threat. What if these underground sentinels are guarding the entrances to intact, functioning parts of the ancient network? Tunnels leading not to ruins, but to live sectors. Chambers where the Hyperborean technology still pulses. Reports from engineers who worked in deep excavation projects often mention inexplicable electromagnetic interference, power fluctuations that defy physics, localized gravitational anomalies. These are not ghosts. They are the background hum of a system trying to restart. They are the sound of a battery that has been charging for 10,000 years. and it's almost at full capacity. Why would the government silence every person who talks about this? Because if the public knew that every major city was built atop a sleeping giant, the panic would be catastrophic. So we are left with the chilling choice: believe the official stories of collapsed sewers and structural damage, or face the possibility that a higher, deadlier history lies just below the concrete. What if the tunnels weren't built for survival from the flood, but for escape? What if the Hyperboreans left for a reason, sealing their own city to contain something they couldn't control? The deeper you go, the older the world becomes. And the deeper the secret is buried, the greater the power required to keep it silent. Remember that the next time you hear the rumble of the subway beneath your feet, it might not be a train you hear. It might be the sound of an ancient mechanism struggling for life, or the door of a forgotten vault finally being rattled by the pressures of the modern world. In Istanbul, Rome, Paris, and New York, the foundations of modern life rest on a graveyard of a powerful, lost age. And someone, somewhere, is still monitoring the pulse of that sleeping giant. This story demands you rethink everything you know about the ground you stand on. The most guarded places on Earth aren't remote military bases. They are the unseen layers beneath our homes. But what do you believe? Have you ever felt a strange vibration in a subway car? Seen a sealed-off access point near a historical site? Tell us your theories in the comments below. You've been watching Deep Truth Uncovered, the channel dedicated to mapping the unseen, challenging the narrative, and always asking the forbidden questions. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay curious, and always remember, there is a world below watching the world above.